Good night and welcome to another presentation of Monroe on the Record. And tonight we're doing something a little bit different. I've got three senior high school athletes from Massac High School. I'm going to talk to them a little bit about their careers at Massac and what they're going to be doing. So before we start that, I'd like to introduce them. Right next to me is Megan Crouch, and right next to Megan is Peter Kaminsky, and at the end is Gene Koulis. And before we do anything, I'm going to just have them give you a couple of minutes of who they are and where they're going to school. So Megan, why don't you start?
You said I'm Megan Crouch. I'm going to Trinity College in Hartford. I'll play volleyball, which I've played past 4 years in high school, and then I'm contemplating playing basketball as well, but I'll have to see kind of when I get there.
Peter, how about you?
I'm going to Southern Connecticut to study history. I'm a four-year varsity player for ice hockey, and I also play lacrosse my junior and senior year. I'm thinking about playing hockey in college, but I've yet to decide that.
And Gene, how about you?
I'm actually going to University of Rhode Island to study nursing, and these past 4 years I've played lacrosse and soccer.
Great. So let me ask the question to you, Gene. How has the 4 years of soccer and lacrosse, how's that impacted you in school, and what's it done for you?
I think right away, freshman year I wasn't able to play because I had an ACL injury, but right away I got still involved with the team, and I met a lot of close friends, and we really bonded well, and by getting involved with sports it helped me to really get to know a lot of new people and new faces outside of the classroom.
Peter, how about you, bud?
Freshman year, I was real interested in playing hockey. I had played most of my life, and they just came off a real good year when I was in 8th grade, and I just felt like during hockey, like they just welcome everyone and everyone is treated equal, and you just make great friendships playing hockey.
Great. Megan?
Mine's pretty much like Gene. I made a lot of awesome friendships throughout the 4 years. I played 2 sports like Gene did, and so did Peter, so I had 2 groups of really best friends. And then, I don't know, sports have been a major part of my life, so it's just kind of like getting used to it. So.
Peter, what kind of, you got the practices, you've been playing for 4 years, a couple of sports for 2 years, right? Yeah. So what kind of burdens does that put on you relative to the academic side of high school life?
In academics, both sports I played, academics were stressed. They were stressed. I never was a bad student, but I don't consider myself as a great student. But having the sports instilled pretty much, you need to be passing your classes. You need to be passing with a certain GPA, not failing, spending nights studying. I mean, it was also a motive, sports, to help you succeed in school.
Gene, how about you?
I think it was really essential to make sure everybody on the team was able to manage their time and not get too involved in sports and not get completely over your head in all the academic classes. I mean, you have to really find a good balance for yourself because everybody's different. Somebody, will bring tons of books on the bus when you go to away games, and other people will have absolutely nothing. So it's really a personal thing and how you will adapt to playing sports and excelling in the classroom.
Megan, how about your situation? Any different, or?
Well, there's a lot of nights when you come home and it'd be like 11 o'clock after a varsity match in like New Fairfield or something, and you'd have to come home and study for maybe 2 tests, and sometimes tests are only like you've only learned about them for like a day or so, and otherwise you'd study the day before. But there was nights where I'd stay up till like 2 in the morning, and it'd just be tough to get up 6 o'clock and go back to school and do it all over again. But I mean, you get used to it. Time management's key.
I'd like to ask Gene, one of the burdens is obviously injuries, and you mentioned an ACL injury, and I know you had 2 ACL injuries. So how do you come back from 2 really tough injuries, and what is it that makes you want to come back?
I think the main thing was I just kept asking myself, like, do I really want to quit? Like, I've played this all my life. I've been with all these group of people for my whole life, and really, is it worth quitting now? Like, not only are you quitting the sport, but you're quitting, like, the time you'd be spending with your friends, like, just the friendships, everything about it is really something that I knew I didn't want to give up, and it was worth coming back to. Even though, like, I wasn't on the field, it was still something that I wanted to be a part of, and that's what I wanted my high school to be involved in.
And how about, Megan, from a basketball perspective, I know this year one of your players had an injury and they couldn't finish the season out.
Yeah.
How does that impact the rest of the team?
Well, this year there's actually a lot of small injuries, big injuries, but it definitely impacted. This year was changed immensely because of injuries. Like, we probably would have had a much better record, but I mean, overall, if your friend gets hurt, it kind of like brings down the morale of the team. You know, like, it's just not the same when you're out on the court and there's 4 people you're used to and then 1 person you're not. I don't know. Mostly, as long as she'll be back next year and they'll have a better team, but it's just it's sad when it happens mostly. So
how do you pick the team up? I know you were co-captain of the basketball team. How do you, as in a leadership role, help pick the rest of the team up?
Well, you try as best as you can, but mostly, like, I had Coach Strong as our basketball coach, and he's legendary. So you try to follow his lead, I guess. Really, inspirational speeches, blah blah blah. But if you're not good at that, you kind of just lead by example on the court, you know.
Speaking of coaches, let's talk about your coaches and how they impacted you. Peter, talk to me about your coaches. And you've had 2 different coaches. What's their similarities? What's their differences?
For hockey, Coach Townsend, he came in my sophomore year. He was new to the program. First year coaching at all in general. We had to start from the ground up building the program, and I think he did a good job, and you can start to see it now. We're more disciplined, we're closer and friends, and academics is probably even better. He coaches, he gives good speeches, motivates you, and then on the lacrosse field, it's Coach Seymour. He's been there for a while. I'm not really familiar with how he coaches because I haven't been playing that long, but he gets the best out of his players. Both the coaches I play for get the best out of their players, game in and game out.
Gene, how about in your 2 different sports? You've had 2 really interesting people coaching you this year.
I kind of had a different perspective on it because freshman year I was a manager, so like I was on the sidelines with Coach B on the soccer field, and
Coach B is Coach Brainerd?
Yes,
oh, okay.
Coach Brainerd
yes.
for the soccer team. So I'd be on the sidelines with Coach B and overhearing everything she was saying, and it was just a really interesting perspective being next to Coach B and like having her as a coach, because she, again, you know, we're all there to win, we're all in it together, and she's very positive and really good role model.
And how about in lacrosse? You had Coach
lacrosse
Murphy
was Coach Murphy. He's the head football coach, so it seems very intimidating, but he's completely different from as a football coach to a girls lacrosse coach. It's 2 complete opposites. He's a great coach. We know he kept positive attitude. he doesn't scream at you. He's not like a screamer at all. So it was a great 2 seasons.
Well, that's different than how he is on football.